Alright, we're back. We're going to be doing a review, another, what is it? Old News, New Views?
Yep.
Of the Warriors of Chaos book. So Andrew and I both play Warriors. He's played them a bit longer than I have, but I think we've both had some pretty unique experience with them.
Yeah.
In terms of what we've been running. So let's go ahead and get started here.
So yeah, the Warriors book, an elite army, low model count usually.
Yeah, usually this edition for sure, going by the meta.
Yeah, we can just start off with the special rules. So demonic attacks, certain models in the army are considered demons. Attacks made by models with the special rule are magical, and this includes any ranged or stomp attacks that model makes.
Yeah.
Next up is sort of the big one. It's what Warriors are known for.
Alright, so this is the Eye of the Gods rule. So models that have this are collectively known as Chaos Champions. They cannot refuse challenges, and they must always issue one if possible. So if you have multiple champions in the combat, you can choose which one does that. But where this gets really interesting is if that champion kills an opponent in a challenge, or kills a monster, you roll 2d6 on the table in the book here. And we just really quickly go over that. One, he either has stupidity and suffers -1 leadership, or turns into a spawn. 2, +1 ballistic skill. 3 is +1 ballistic skill. 4 is +1 toughness. 5, he gets +1 to his armor save. 6, +1 weapon skill. 7, he can re-roll 1 failed to wound or to hit roll until the end of his next turn. 8 is +1 initiative. 9 is +1 attack. 10 is +1 strength. 11, where it can be kind of nasty, is he gets a 6+ ward save, or if he already had one, it becomes 1 better to a maximum of 3+.
Gross.
And 12 is 2 options, kind of like the first one. He gains stubborn and +1 leadership if he already had stubborn, or he turns into a demon prince.
The thing to note about this though is when he does become a demon prince, he counts as killed. So if it's like your general or your BSB, that counts as being killed. But you get a demon prince out of it, so it's sort of a toss up there.
Yeah. And he regains all the equipment and everything that your character had.
Right.
So walk us through the marks here.
So you can upgrade each unit pretty much with a mark of chaos, so it's one of the 4 gods. You cannot have more than one of these marks, and units, if characters join a unit with a mark, they have to share the same mark or be an undivided character. The other one who breaks this rule is the special character Archaon, and he's considered to have all 4 of these marks. So the first one is Marker Corn, and it gives the unit the Frenzy special rule. Pretty sweet. Then there's the Mark of Nurgle, which is the one I usually take on everything. And models with the Mark of Nurgle in close combat suffer a -1 penalty when to hit. So models attacking them are hitting up 1 less. Then there's the Mark of Slanesh. If the majority of models in a unit have a Mark of Slanesh, the unit automatically passes Fear, Terror, and Panic tests that they have to take. The last one is the Mark of Tzeentch, and this one's it's pretty good. Mark of Tzeentch has a 6+ ward save. If the model already had a ward save, it's improved by 1 to a maximum of 3. In addition, a wizard with the Mark of Tzeentch rerolls any channeling dice rolls level 1. The thing to note about this is units that have parry saves. A parry save is considered a ward save, so to actually parry on a 5+. I guess that goes right into the units then.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it here. So the first unit we've got is the Chaos Lord. So these guys, just quickly go through the stat block. Weapon skill 8, ballistic skill 3, not that they shoot. Strength 5, toughness 5, 3 wounds, initiative 7, 5 attacks, leadership 9. The only special rule he has is Eye of the Gods. So at face value, pretty beefy fighter, right?
Yeah, he's a combat character.
With that said, you don't see him too much.
Well, he's overshadowed by another guy.
Yeah,
that
which we'll get to. So next item here.
So the next one is the Exalted Hero. He's basically your BSB. I think he's the only one in the book who can take your battle standard. He's basically a dumbed down version of the Chaos Lord. Only 2 wounds, 4 attacks. He's strength 5, weapon skill 7. So he's a decent guy. There's some combos you can do with him. I think a common one is putting him on a demonic mount, which would give him 3 wounds. 3 wounds and toughness 5, so it beefs him up a bit, makes him more survivable. And you can also give him the 1+ rerolling ward save, or armor save.
Yep.
I think that's the standard loadout you usually see on him. I take mine mounted, and he goes in the warrior or the knight's bus, but that's to add combat res.
Yeah. The other build, which will carry over with the next guy we're going to talk about, is putting him on, giving him Mark of Zinch, tossing him on a disc, and giving him the 4+ ward that he can reroll. Because that gets improved to a 3+ from Mark of Zinch, and he rerolls once.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Next up is your level 4 sorcerer guy.
Yeah, so that jumps us into the Chaos Sorcerer. This guy has a few things we can talk about, but to start out with, it's a split profile in the book. It's the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and the Chaos Sorcerer. They're very, very similar. They're both weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 4. The Lord has 3 wounds, the Sorcerer has 2. Initiative 5, 3 attacks on the Lord, 2 on the Sorcerer, and leadership 8. So this guy can have any of the Chaos marks. If he is, let's see here, Mark of Zinch, he has to have Lord of Zinch or Lord of Metal. If he's Nurgle, it's Nurgle or Death. If he's Slaanesh, it's Slaanesh or Shadow.
Cake or death.
Cake or Death?
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I lied, you can't have Mark of Khorne because Khorne and Wizards don't really go along.
They're not friends.
So this guy, probably the only time you're going to run into him is running that build we were just talking about with the BSB.
Yeah, so on the disc.
Yeah, very popular, have him on the disc. That way he's got 3 wounds. You can also build him out to have a 1+ armor save if you want.
Yeah, so one of the things to note about the Chaos Sorcerers is they come with Chaos Armor stat, which we didn't go over, but Chaos Armor is a armor with a 4 ward save.
Or 4 armor save.
Armor save, sorry. So sorcerers with armor are allowed to take magic armors as well, so you can actually beef them up to have a better armor save.
Yeah, and Chaos Armor is very, very particular because you can still cast while wearing it.
Correct.
Unlike most others. So yeah, Chaos Sorcerer's pretty beefy. You probably 9 times out of 10 if you're running to it, it's going to be running Mark of Zinch.
Yeah.
I think there's some debate as to which of the lords is better with him, Lord of Zinch or Lord of Metal, but that's something we can cover later on.
Yeah, really depends on what you're facing.
Yeah, exactly. So
let me get into the mount. So you can take Chaos Dragon, cool. Basically it's 6s across the board for stats. Initiative 3, not that great. It has a Scaly Skin 3+, it flies and is a large target, and causes terror. Its special rule is Dark Fire of Chaos, so it's a breath weapon with a strength of 4 and the flaming attack special rules. And it also has another breath weapon, strength 2 breath weapon with no armor saves allowed against it. This is because Chaos Dragons have 2 heads, so each one has its own breath weapon. So basically it's a model with 2 breath weapons, which is kind of nice. Next up is the Demonic Mount, so it's movement 8, strength toughness 5, 3 wounds, 2 attacks. It counts as a monstrous beast, so you become monstrous cav when you have it. He's sort of the one that's more common, usually on BSBs, just to give him that extra buff up. And if you mark him Khorne, he can join Skull Crushers, which is pretty gross in a big unit of them. Next up is the Manticore. It's a flying, killing blow, large targeting terror monster. Decent stat line, strength, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 4 attacks. The cool thing about this is you can upgrade him to have a 4-up Scaly Skin, so that's pretty nice, and Venom Tail. So he makes an additional attack that has the poisoned attacks and multiple wounds 2 special rule. And if the model that is being attacked by this rule is in the rear arc, it gets a +1 to hit. The thing about this guy though is he has sort of like a modified stupidity roll, so if you use him as a mount, he's uncontrollable. You take a leadership test, and if failed, the Manticore and its rider are subject to frenzy until the start of the next turn. Also, if the rider is slain, the Manticore doesn't take a monstrous reaction test and instead just gets the raw result. Next up is the Disc of Zinch.
yeah, so this is what we were talking about before. Disc of Zinch is just a normal war beast kind of mount, but the key thing is it flies and it has a bunch of attacks. So it's strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound is the mount itself. Initiative 4, which is pretty good. 3 attacks that are demonic attacks, so they're magical. Leadership 7, but that will never really come into play because it's a war beast. But it flies. So that sorcerer we were just talking about, who can be nearly unkillable, he's also marching 20 inches a turn. going over everything, just causing absolute havoc.
And if you have spells that you need to target specific things, it basically gets you where you need to be.
Yeah. And because in that build you run him alone, you can face him however you want, because he's a character pretty much.
Yeah, and usually that guy gets the crown command, so you can throw him into units to hold him up, and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So next up we've got the Palanquin of Nurgle. So this is a monstrous beast. You become monstrous cav. It's weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds with 6 attacks, initiative 3.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's pretty beefy. I don't think you see him very often. If at
No.
all. It's more common just with Epidemius.
Because it makes you a monstrous cav, and he has really no protection from cannonballs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to keep him safe like that.
Yeah, so you have to have Mark and Nurgle to be able to get him, I'm pretty sure.
Correct.
Yeah, so usually if you're going to see monstrous cav, it's going to be the demonic mount we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Steeds of Slanesh, which we'll actually get into later on in the book.
Yep.
So let's talk about our favorite guy here.
So the granddaddy of the Lord's choices is the Demon Prince. He's retarded. His movement 8, which doesn't matter because he can also buy wings, so he's flying. His weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 5 for his no shooting. Strength 6, toughness 5, 4 wounds, initiative 8, and 5 attacks. And he's leadership 9. He has the demonic attack special rule, so his attacks are magical, so he can deal with ethereal things. He causes terror, and sort of the big thing about him is he's unbreakable. So even if you lose combat with him, he's not going anywhere. Because he's demonic, he has a 5-up ward save, and he can be marked with any of the marks. The upgrades for him are demonic flight, so it gives him fly. He can be a demon of corn, so the marks affect him differently, some of them. So a demon of corn has the hatred demons of Slanesh special rule. In addition, on a turn in which the demon of corn makes a successful charge, it has a +1 bonus to its strength for the rest of the turn. So he doesn't get frenzied like the other guys do. Demon of Tzeentch has the hatred demons of Nurgle rule, and rerolls ward save results of a 1. Wizards with the demonic Demon of Tzeentch upgrade can also reroll chanting results of a 1. So he can be, your dice generating unkillable monster. Demon of Nurgle, he hates Demons of Tzeentch, which is something I forget, I think, all the time. Mm-hmm. And enemy models targeting a Demon of Nurgle in close combat suffer a -1 to hit, which is pretty nice because it keeps him safe. With his high weapon skill, a lot of stuff hits him on 6s.
Yeah.
Or even hitting on 5s is still pretty hurtful to the enemy. And the last one is Demons of Slanesh, have the hatred demons of corn and gain armor piercing.
So what's the common build you see with this guy? What's some of the better ones?
There's 2 I know of. The one that you and I both run is Demon of Nurgle. Flight, he can take Chaos Armor, so we do. Then there's gifts later on, which we'll go over, but we'll just go over the main ones now. One of them is Soul Feeder, so every wound you do in combat at the end of the phase, roll a 6, and on a 6 you can gain back a failed wound. He'll take the Dragonbane Gen for a 2-up ward save against Flaming. I take the Sword of Striking, so usually he hits on 2s against most things. What's the other ones?
What else you run with him? Sword of Striking, Dragonbane Gem.
The Scaly Skin one.
Scaly Skin, that gives him Scaly Skin 5-up, so that gives him a 1+ armor save. And Charm Shield.
With a Charm Shield, yeah.
Yeah.
To protect him at least, hopefully, from cannonballs that first turn.
Yeah, so basically you end up with him flying around with a 1+ armor save, 5-up ward save, with a bunch of attacks that hit almost everything on 2s. And another thing, if you're running 2,400 points, or, I think it's 2,250 is sort of the break point, you can give him a Chaos Familiar as well, so he knows a 5th spell.
And he channels on 5s.
Channels on 5s, yeah. So there's some nice stuff with that.
Yeah, he's pretty gross. The build without the Chaos Familiar clocks in at 500 points.
Yeah.
So it's fairly cheap for what you get out of it because he's your level 4 wizard and better than your fighty character in this book. That's basically why you see him every time. He is vulnerable to cannon shots. Stuff that ignores armor really hurts him because he only has a 5-up ward save, so like Terrorgeist, a lot of the death snipes hurt him. Yeah. So you gotta kind of be careful with how you play him and make sure he's safe. Usually the best way to keep him safe is to get him into combat as quickly as possible, which is nice to do with flight. Yeah. Next up is your basic Chaos Warriors.
Yeah, the bread and butter of a lot of army builds for it.
Yeah.
So these guys are weapon skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, initiative 5, 2 attacks each base.
Yep.
Champion with 3 attacks. So you can give these guys sword and shield, extra hand weapon, or halberds.
And great weapons.
And great weapons. So a lot of the time you're going to see them with halberds and shields is one of the more popular builds.
Yeah.
Just still striking initiative at strength 5.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Because they have such high initiative, a lot of people run them with halberds just to take advantage of that high initiative. Great weapons are nice because you would be strength 6, but then you're striking last. They come stocked with chaos armor, so a 4-up armor save with a shield 3-up, and you can give them any of the marks in the book.
Yep. So these guys are pretty nasty with Mark of Nurgle because it's tough to hit them. It's tough to kill them anyway because their weapons go 5 with toughness 4. With Mark of Corn, especially with the extra hand weapon, they're just insane.
Yeah.
4 attacks each.
4 attacks each off the front, strength 4. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Another common one, if you want like a really good anvil, is give them a sword and board and markers each.
5-up parries.
5-up parry, 6-up ward save against other stuff, and they have that 3-up armor.
Pretty good.
Slanesh, not so much. You don't see.
No.
The next one is a special choice. It's the Chaos Chosen. Basically, a better version of the Warriors. They have 1 blip of weapon skill better. The thing about them, though, is they get a free roll on the Eye of the Gods, and as long as it's not either you're turned into a spawn or a demon prince, that applies to the whole unit.
Yep.
So you can have, an extra attack, a better ward save, depending on what you roll. Like, it's random, but they're kind of overpriced for what you get compared to just regular Warriors. Like, the extra roll is nice, but I don't think the cost really is there for it.
So the setup with these guys is what you'll usually see if somebody's taking them is they'll run multiple units of 5 of them, which is the minimum unit size, with a champion, because if you have a champion in it, he can be turned into the demon prince.
Correct.
So the way the rewards of chaos works for these guys is you roll 3d. I'm not sure if you mentioned this. You roll 3d6, and you can choose and you can discard one of those. You basically have the extra chance to get 6 on that. So you take 2 or 3 units of these guys. And you basically just try to pump out demon princes with them since you have a slightly higher chance.
Yeah.
Other than that, you'll probably never see them because they are very overcosted.
Yeah. Especially compared to the Warriors, which are basically just as good. 1 less weapon skill, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
Next up is the Marauders. Oh, have they fallen from grace?
Yeah.
So these are your sort of mortals in the army. Weapon skill 4, strength toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7. They're people. They're not warriors. They're not less than. They also have the Eye of the Gods rule for their sergeant. You can give them any of the marks, and you can give them armor, or light armor, so 6-up armor save. You can give them shields. They can take great weapons, flails, and I think that's it.
Yep.
They're alright if you want a tar pit, but really they get expensive because in the old book, you just pay for the mark upgrade for the whole unit. Now it's per model. So before you'd see big blocks of Marauders, either with Corn, which would give them 2 attacks because of the Frenzy, and Flails, and you'd only pay a set price. But now, because I think it's 2 points per model, that big block becomes really expensive really quick, and they really don't have... Like, the only strength toughness 3, and the best they can have is a 5-up armor save, so they kind of... Before they were throwaway, now they're just too expensive to be filling that role.
Yeah, it's most of the time, you'll just run Warriors instead.
Yeah, because Warriors do it better and fill the role better.
Yeah, point for point, I'd say Warriors is the better choice.
Now, on the other hand, the next unit is the Marauder Horsemen. So these are Marauders on a steed. They're fast cav, as long as you don't take both the armor upgrades. So they can either have light armor or shields, but if you take both, they stop being fast cavalry. The cool thing about this is they get a vanguard. They're fairly cheap, so you can use them as like a chaffer unit. I know I field them as often as I can with flails, so they'll be strength 5 on the charge. Another common build with them is flails and Slanesh. So when you do start taking wounds, you don't have to take your panic checks for casualties.
Yeah. Yeah, usually you'll see these guys run minimum size.
Yeah, and the nice thing about them is they're also core, so you know having fast cap and core is always really nice.
They're a really good chaff. I'd take these guys probably over the other chaff choices that we'll get to.
Yeah. So next up is the Hellstriders of Slaanesh.
Yeah.
They're a special choice.
So I don't know these guys too well, so actually I'll let you go over them.
Okay, so they're basically Marauder Horsemen with the Slaanesh mark, but they have the Steed of Slaanesh, which is a specific mount for those guys. So it's movement 10, strength toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5, so really fast, and 1 attack. Also note that the Marauders with this go up to initiative 5, so they're quick. Now they have the Eye of the Gods, fast cav, they cause fear, and they have a special rule called Soul Hunters. So what this does is when a unit of Hellstriders of Slaanesh destroys an enemy unit in close combat, they gain a bonus special rule for the remainder of the game. So you roll, for 1 unit destroyed this way, they get Devastating Charge, so +1 attack on the charge. 2 units destroyed, they'll gain Stubborn, so they're not bad, leadership 7. And further on is 4+ ward save. That's pretty gross. A cool way to use these guys, if you don't want to use them as chaff, they are kind of expensive, I think, in the 20s of points. Smash the place up. Hellstriders.
I think they're a special choice, aren't they?
19 points.
Yeah, 19 points each, yeah. And then if you want to give them ASF, it's an extra couple points there as well.
Can you give them ASF?
There's something in the profile there.
So yeah, you can give them a Hell Scourges, which is like whips with hooks on it. And yeah, it gives them always strikes first in the first round of combat.
Yeah, and that's an extra 1 point per model, so not too bad.
You'd probably pay it. ASF is nice, and especially with these guys being initiative 5, it can hurt a lot of small stuff.
Be good for hunting war machines or just clearing chat.
I can see them being a bunker with like a Slaanesh hero or lord in it, because as long as the hero or lord's on a Steed of Slaanesh, he can join this unit.
It's true.
And if you take sort of a big enough unit, once you start destroying stuff, that adds up pretty quick. Like having a Devastating Charge Stubborn Lord with a 4 board save is pretty gross.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think you really see them that too much, because they are in special, and there's a lot of stuff in special that they're competing with. So unless you're doing like a themed army or trying to pull off that build I just said, you probably won't see them too much over Marauder Cavalry, because they fill the same role essentially.
Alright, so let's move along here. Next up we got Chaos Knights. These guys are a lot of fun. So the stat block, there's basically mounted warriors, so 2 attacks. Weapon skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4. They have a 1+ armor save, just as they are. Their only upgrade is ensorcelled weapons, which gives them +1 strength always, and their attacks count as magical.
Yeah, or you can give them lances. Why?
That's true, yeah, why? Why would you? So these guys are just, they're great. They're kind of expensive, they're 20-some points a pop, I think, maybe a little more.
I think they're a lot more.
Pushing 30 maybe?
Yeah.
Because ensorcelled weapons isn't cheap either.
Just like me, pushing 30.
Oh, 40 points each.
40 points a model, and it's, I think, 5 putts. 3 points for ensorcelled weapons.
Yeah, and then another 2 points for most marks. Yeah, except for Slaanesh. So normal command stuff for them. They cause fear as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main reason you take these guys is the 1+ armor save and the strength 5 magical attacks.
Yeah, and you can also take a magic banner with them up to 50 points, which is kind of nice.
Yep. And they are mounted on Chaos Steeds, which are weapon skill 3, strength 4, initiative 3, 1 attack.
Yeah, so the cool thing about them is most mounts are only strength 3, these guys are strength 4, so it is that little extra blip output.
Yeah. And now we get into one of my favorite units, which is the Skull Crushers Khorne, these guys.
We can go over that then.
Alright. So Skull Crushers are basically elite monstrous cavalry. Weapon skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 attacks each. Mounted on Juggernauts of Khorne, which are weapon skill 5, strength 5, toughness 4, 3 wounds each with 3 attacks. They can only have Mark of Khorne, but they can take ensorcelled weapons, so that puts the riders up to strength 5 as well. So basically for each of these guys, you have 5 strength 5 attacks at weapon skill 5. Also stomp, and on the turn they charge, Juggernauts have +1 strength. And a 1+ armor save, always. So they're just really, really nasty. a lot of the stuff that you'll, like some of the stronger units out there, let's take Wild Riders for example. Last game I played against Wood Elves had a unit of, I think it was 10 Wild Riders charging into these guys. I lost one, and the Wild Riders were all dead again. But they're very, very hard to deal with. Especially in larger units, a lot of times you'll just see it, maybe 2 units of 3, because they're quite expensive. It's about 220 points for 3 of them. So you'll either see 2 units of 3, or in some cases 2 units of 4, like Christian Canhammer runs out with his warriors, or even just a block of 6. And they can just be pretty nasty. So the reason they have the 1+ armor save, the guys have chaos armor and shields, but the juggernauts they have a special rule called Brass Behemoth, which increases the armor save by 2 instead of 1. So.
And they can also take a magic banner.
They can also, yep.
Would you ever put anything on them?
Gleaming Pennant, because they have Frenzy, because they're Market Corn, and only they're leadership 8, so you're still, the odds are in your favor to pass, but it's if they're outside of your BSB range, you really want that reroll, and then turn 2 they're probably going to be in combat anyway. But it has saved my ass many a time.
Fair enough. Alright, so moving on. Get into the chariots. So there's 2 chariots in this book. One is a core chariot. It's just the chaos chariot. It can be given any of the marks. It has 2 charioteers. It's movement 8, toughness 5, 4 wounds. It's not bad. It does have a 3-up armor save, which is nice, and there's 2 chaos warriors mounted on it with halberds. So strength 5, weapon skill 5, 4 attacks, and then the chaos steeds are just regular, fairly nice, cheap.
Yep.
I think with a mark it clocks in around 100, 120, depending on which one you take, obviously. The cool thing about this though is it is core, so if you don't want to take foot warriors, they want to be a little bit more mobile, this is probably the way to go with that and Marauder Cavalry.
Yeah, there are a lot of armies I've seen just around that take nothing but chariots.
Nothing but chariots. The bad thing about that is though you don't have banners, so if you're playing certain missions it could screw you over, but whatever. The next one is the Gorebeast Chariot. So this is sort of a buffed up version. It's strength 5, toughness 6, 5 wounds. It has 2 charioteers and it's pulled by a Gorebeast. So, want to go over that guy?
Yeah, so the Gorebeast is a monster, well, sort of a monster. He's weapon skill 4, strength 5, with 3 attacks at initiative 2. But the thing that makes this guy really fun is all of the impact hits from the Gorebeast are killing blow.
Yeah, that could be really painful to cavalry.
Yeah, so you can take out some stuff, and even then, the chariot's toughness 6, and it's just nasty. And
if
it's
you
got the
mark
same
it
riders.
medical, it's pretty.
It's tough to kill.
Yeah,
really tough to kill.
The thing to note though, it is a little bit slower. It's only movement 6, and because it's a chariot, it can't march. So you really got to play more of a defensive game with them until you're ready to charge in.
Yeah. This guy combo charging with pretty much anything else is a scary prospect.
More Gorebeasts.
More Gorebeasts, yeah. 3 Gorebeast chariots.
Yeah.
All right, and moving on to one of the other really popular choices in some lists anyway, from specialists, the Chimera. Or the Chimerae for plural, I guess.
Chimera?
Chimera, yeah. Chimichangas. So, movement 6, but they're flying. Strength 6, toughness 5, 4 wounds, only initiative 2, but 6 attacks. So fly, large target, 4+ scaly skin, causes terror. And in addition to its normal attacks, it has its tail, which is D3 random attacks. And it gets +1 to hit if it's rear arc. But where this guy gets nasty is his upgrades. Strength 4 flaming breath weapon. Regeneration, which you'll pretty much always take, and you can give them poison attacks.
Gross.
So one of basically the build you run with this guy is flaming breath and regeneration.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got 4+ armor save, 4+ regen, with 4 wounds, flying, toughness 5.
And he's a monster, so he gets thunderstone.
Yeah. You toss this guy in, again, combo charges anything, or even just melt a unit with the breath weapon at strength 4. It's pretty nasty. Take 2 of these. Well, what's the phrase? One is good, 2 is best.
Yeah.
They're expensive though. 260 some points with the upgrades.
That's sort of a common theme with this book, though. A lot of stuff is really expensive, but it's also really good as well.
Yeah.
So next up is the Forsaken.
That sort of sums it up.
Their movement 6, weapon skill 4, so not as good as a warrior. Strength toughness 4, 1 wound. Initiative 4 and attacks D3, so they can put out a bit of hurt, and their leadership 8. They have Frenzy, so does that add on to the D3? So it would be D3 plus 1? No, that's kind of cool. They're immune to Psych, which is pretty nice. And then they get a rule called Fiendish Mutation. So at the beginning of each close combat phase, if you're in, roll a d6 and certain things happen, ranging from getting always strikes last to having killing blow. The other stuff in between's alright too. Poison attacks, some of them armor piercing, regen 5+, or always strikes first. So not bad. Combat buffs could push a combat. They can be marked, but they have their own effects. So Forsaken of Khorne have the Hatred special rule, so they get to reroll the hit. Pretty sweet. Forsaken of Tzeentch have the Magic Resistance 2 special rule. Not that great. Forsaken of Nurgle have the Fear special rule. Also not that great. And then Forsaken of Slaanesh have the Swift Stride special rule. That's actually pretty sweet, because they can charge 3d6, pick the 2 highest. And with their movement 6, yeah.
You'll probably never see these guys. They're expensive, and all things considered, they're maybe on par with a warrior when you take in their mutations.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're just not very good.
I think they also have Chaos Armor, so they have 4-up armor save.
Yeah, they're basically worse warriors.
The way I'd see it is you take Slaanesh Mark Fiends and run them in blocks of 10 and use them as either flankers or chaff redirectors. And even then, it's kind of a waste of points because Marauder Cav do it better.
Yeah, there's better stuff you can take for the points. Because following with the theme of everything else in the book, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the worst thing that exists in this book.
It's great. What are you talking about?
Okay, so let's talk about Chaos Spawn. 2d6 random movement. Strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, d6 plus 1 attacks at initiative 2.
Yeah, d6 plus 1. That's amazing.
Causes fear, is unbreakable. If you use Mark of Khorne, devastating charge. Mark of Tzeentch, strength 3 breath weapon with flaming. Mark of Nurgle, poison attacks. And Mark of Slaanesh, ASF. The problem with this guy is not necessarily he doesn't have the potential to be good, is that he has the potential to be terrible. He could have a 2-inch movement with 2 attacks.
He's unbreakable.
Yeah. No, pretty much the only time you'll see one of these guys is if somebody gets really unlucky on Eye of the Gods and turns into him. There's really no reason to run for the points, I don't think.
No, and it's in your special slot, which is competing with too much other good things.
Yeah. Which is a bit of a shame because the models are really cool.
Yeah.
And if you contrast it to 40k, which some people play both systems, they're amazing in 40k. So it's sort of odd that they were so crappy in this, but
it's not the same game.
Yeah. No, it is what it is though. You'll probably not see them. If you want to run a theme army with them, they have the potential to be really, really cool.
You like a Tzeentch theme army with a bunch of them and Forsaken?
The thing to keep in mind, and a pretty common misconception, they're not demons. They're monstrous beasts.
Right.
So no demon save and no demonic attacks.
Which is cool because it means they get Swift Stride.
Yeah, they do. On top of their 2d6 range.
Never mind.
Yeah. It's iffy. I mean, 2d6.
Yeah.
You're going to average out to 6-inch movement, but invariably the turn you need that 6-inch, you're going to roll snake eyes.
Cool.
So.
Chaos Warhounds.
Warhounds. These guys are interesting. They're chaff. They're movement 7, weapon skill 4, strength 3, toughness 3, initiative 3. You can upgrade them to have 6+ scaly skin or poisoned attacks. I think you can also give them Vanguard.
Well, they have.
They have it anyway. It's a war beast. Yeah, I don't know. I like them as chaff. Sort of like direwolves in Vampire's army. They're cheap. They're 40 points for 5 or 50 points or something.
Yeah, you probably won't really upgrade them.
Yeah, no.
If you do, take at least the poison, not the scaly skin. 6+ isn't. It's not good.
Not worth it. I'd probably say take Marauder Horsemen over these guys.
Yeah, these are more like if you have X amount of points left and you can't afford Marauder Horsemen, go with these guys because they fill the same role. They're cheaper and not as good, but they're still decent.
Yeah, they're a good redirector or first turn to absorb some shooting if somebody doesn't want to deal with them as redirectors.
Yeah, and if you want to play like a heavy chaff game, go with these guys. You can get more of the Marauder Cav, so it'd be cool. But I don't know, they're all right. Get some of the bigger stuff.
Let's talk about Chaos Ogres.
Chaos Ogres, they're amazing. So they're ogres that join chaos. They can have any of the marks, which is sweet. The movement 6, strength toughness 4, 3 attacks each, 3 wounds. They're only leadership 7 and initiative 2, but same as out of the ogre's book. The cool thing about them is they do take marks, so you can give them Nurgle and all the other good ones. They can be upgraded with additional hand weapons or great weapons, and they come with heavy armor stock. They have the ogre charge special rule, so they have impact hits 1. Did I use that in our game?
Don't think so.
Whatever.
They didn't charge. They got charged.
Right. And it is increased to impact hits D3 if you roll a 10 or more on your charge. So the same as the ogre charge book out of the ogre's book. They're cool. I like them. They're competing with specials points, so you don't really see them much, especially compared to the other monstrous infantry we'll get into next. But they can pump out a lot of damage. Give them great weapons and mark of corn, so they'll have 4 attacks, strength 6, weapon skill 3, whatever, it's average. They'll have stomps.
Yeah, they're beefy, but yeah, there's other stuff they're competing with. It's probably better.
Yeah. And next up is the trolls, which is probably why you won't see ogres ever.
Yeah, so trolls are on their own. Well, there's a specific combo you'll see them in that we'll cover later on. Chaos Trolls, movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength 5, toughness 4, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, initiative 1, and leadership 4 with stupidity. They cause fear and they have regeneration, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes them really, really nasty, what makes them nastier is troll vomit. So a unit of trolls can make a vomit attack instead of their ordinary attack. It automatically hits at strength 5 and ignores armor.
Anything that ignores armor is amazing.
Yeah, especially that automatically hits too, because they're weapon skill 3.
Yeah.
So the math of these guys, from what I've read, works out to if they're hitting on 4s, use their normal attacks. If they're hitting, because it's strength 5 anyway, if they're hitting on anything higher than that, always use the vomit attack. But even then, it's target priority. So if you're attacking something with 1+ armor, always vomit.
Puke on them.
Yeah, you're going to do a wound, you're going to kill. Well, probably do a wound, you're going to kill it. The only thing that holds these guys back as they stand on their own is 1, they're a special choice.
Yep.
And 2, leadership 4 is stupidity. So most of the time, they're going to just stick their thumb up their butt and sit
Well,
there.
as long as they're within the BS or the general's range, you should be alright.
That's true. But still, there's one really, really good way to run these guys, and we'll get to that in a
We'll get
second.
to that once we get the special characters.
Alright.
So next up is Dragon Ogres. Movement 7, weapon skill 4, strength 5, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, and leadership 8. They're monstrous beasts, which is sweet. They cause fear, they have a scaly skin 5 up, and they have a special rule called Storm Rage. So what this is model with this rule has a 2+ ward save against all lightning-based attacks. So this would be stuff like Chain Lightning, Thunderbolt, Warp Lightning, Storm of Shentek. Basically, any magic spell that has the word lightning or storm or is from lower heavens will affect these guys. And when it does, they get Frenzy.
Yeah, in addition to their 2+ ward, if they get hit by it at all, they get Frenzy.
Which is kind of cool. They're not bad.
Yeah,
No,
again,
they're not great.
They're a tough sell for their points. You'd be better off taking Skull Crushers. I think they're a special choice as well,
They're a
right?
special choice. They can take a couple upgrades. They can have halberds, that's kind of cool. Or additional hand weapons.
Yeah.
So they are strength 5. Additional hand weapons would be cool, so you have 4 attacks each. They have light armor, so they have a 4 up armor save. But they're only toughness 4, so they can get hit pretty hard. They're not great. There's 60 points a model, and the upgrades are around 8 points each.
They look really cool though.
They are wicked models. I'd probably get them, run them.
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it.
They'd be a cool thing to throw in the army,
Yeah,
for sure. There are far worse choices you can make.
that's true. Forsaken.
Yeah. And then we get into the big daddy dragon ogres. These are the dragon ogre shagoths. So,
Been around since the dawn of time.
yeah, these guys they're pretty badass. Movement 7, weapon skill 6, strength 6, toughness 5, 6 wounds, and 5 attacks with initiative 4. They're immune to psychology, they cause terror, they have scaly skin, same upgrade options otherwise, and they have the Storm Rage rule as well.
And I think they have great weapons.
Yeah, they do.
So they're strength 8.
And the model for these guys is just badass. It's 5 strength 8 great weapon attacks at weapon skill 6 with 6 wounds.
6 wounds. And they're fast enough that you'll probably get wherever you need to be. Movement 7.
And Thunderstomp.
March 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are on the pricey side, but...
And they're a rare choice, which is a bit of a tough sell, but they are so cool.
They are cool. Like any monster, they're cannon bait. That kind of sucks. Oh, you gotta actually buy the great weapon.
Yeah.
Which you would do.
they're a bit over 200 points. But yeah, they are really cool. The trade-off with these guys again is you have the sort of throw between a Shaggoth or a unit of the Skull Crushers.
Skull Crushers.
The Skull Crushers will win every time, but the Shaggoth is really cool.
Next up is the biggest disappointment in this whole book.
Oh man,
it's the Hell Cannon. What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's so good on paper, but once you play with it, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's a monster. Cool. So it counts as a monster in handlers. The Hell Cannon itself is movement 3, weapon skill 4, strength 5, toughness 6 with 5 wounds and 5 attacks. It is leadership 4, but with the handlers it goes up to leadership 9 because they're dwarfs. They have weapon skill 4, strength 3, toughness 4, and 1 wound each, and there's 3 of them that come with it. Special rules are amazing, so it has demonic attacks, magic attacks, only for the cannon itself. It's a large target, monsters and handlers, like I said. It causes terror and is unbreakable. Sweet.
With a 4-up normal save, 5-up ward save.
Right. It has a special rule, Cage Fury. So at the start of your turn, if the Hell Cannon is not in combat, take a leadership test. If the test is passed, the Hell Cannon acts as normal. Otherwise, it charges the nearest enemy unit 3d6 with a random movement special rule. It's a demonic construct, so it has a 4-up armor save and a 5-up ward save on top of your monster handlers, so it basically has 2 ward saves. And then it fires like a stone thrower.
A slightly better stone thrower, though.
It is a very nice stone thrower that never hits.
Yeah, strength 10 under the hole, strength 5 otherwise.
Multiple wounds, d6 under the hole. Move or fire and slow to fire, so you can't move and shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has its own misfire chart, so this one can be interesting. On a 1, one is called Free at Last. Every unit within 3d6 inches takes d6 strength 5 hits, and then he's removed from play.
Blows up.
Strength 2 is called Slurp. Sucks its handlers into the furnace, remove all the handlers, and then it goes on the monster reaction table.
Yep.
3 is Fizz.
Actually, wait, the funny thing about this is it can eat all of its handlers and then be sad about it after on the monster's reaction table.
Yep. Feel that regret. Alright, so the third one, fires Great Pulse of Raw Magic. All wizards within 24 has to take a leadership test or they miscast.
That's pretty
You
nice.
get to ignore instructions about losing dice. That can hit you a lot harder than the opponent, or it can work in your favor. 4, Enraged Demon goes berserk, remove D3 handlers. 5 is Blood. Rushes forward 3d6 towards enemy with random movement. And 6 is Boom. Fires Devastating Blast, rolls as if it was a hit, doubling the strength of all the hits, so everything is strength 10, and then it can't fire for the rest of the game. As far as the misfires go, 5 and 6 are probably in your favor.
Yeah, you'll get that one good shot off, and then it's still a monster that's unbreakable.
Yeah.
It's
pretty beefy.
It's pretty...
Now the problem we've had is, I mean, it's a stone thrower, right? It's an expensive stone thrower. It's 200 plus points.
210, I think.
Always misses.
Always misses.
Or it fails its leadership.
That's our bad luck, but Jesus Christ, it misses all the time. And, yeah.
Let's not talk about that anymore. Let's talk about Ore Shrines.
Oh, wait, a good thing to use this for is holding down a flank. So you won't... Normally you'll put a stone thrower behind your lines, but this one is a beast. It has a ward save, it's super tough, it's unbreakable. The way I like to do it is have it on one flank, up forward, like right on the deployment line, Because even if stuff like chaff goes into it, they're gonna think, oh, I can take it. It's a stone thrower. No, it's a monster. It's gonna kill any chaff. If you're not shooting, like who cares? It's
a beast.
It's a good anchor. Yeah, like it can take a ton of fight before you take it down. So yeah, that's how I use mine. I don't know how you do it.
I've made the mistake of running it behind my lines a few times, and when I do, invariably I fail the leadership test, and it just runs into the back of my unit.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
Off to the side is way better, because at least you can take advantage of that random movement and potentially hit an enemy, or worst case, you can set yourself up for a charge, or you're even denying your flank on the second turn.
Well, that's true too. If the enemy line does get close, charge it in. It has Thunder Stomp. It has 5 attacks at strength 5 plus the handlers. Like,
and it's toughness 6 with a ward save.
Yeah, it's not crap in combat.
No. It's pretty good. Alright, so moving on to War Shrines. You'll see these pop up very so often. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad.
So, it's a chariot, 4-up armor save, toughness 5. The Shrine Master is basically a warrior. Weapons skill 5, strength 4, 2 attacks, initiative 5. The Shrine Bearers are strength 4, initiative 2, d6 plus 2 attacks, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad.
So this guy's got a bunch of special rules. You want to walk us through that?
Yeah. So it has Favor of the Ruinous Powers. If a friendly model within 12 or more, or within 12 inches of the Chaos War Shrine, when he rolls on the Eye of the Gods, he rolls an additional d6 and discards a single dice of his choice. So Eye of the Gods is 2d6. You roll 3 on this and pick whatever result you want. So, as Logan was saying before about taking units of 5 packs of Chosen, a lot of people will have 1 or 2 of these around just to make sure they're in the bubble, and you can basically pick what you want on that Chosen unit.
4d6 dice too when you're rolling for that. So you get 3d6, and this guy gives you an extra one.
Yeah, so it's called the Demon Prince Generator. When it works, it's kind of stupid because you'll get extra Demon Princes, but it's still pretty random. You need to roll boxcars a lot.
Yeah.
Then it has the Giver of Glory rule. So it's an innate bound spell, power level 4. It's an augment spell that targets D3 friendly models with the Eye of the Gods special rule within 12. The target of the spell immediately rolls on the Eye of the Gods table. They will also benefit from the Favor of the Ruinous Powers special rule when you do this. So basically, it's a way to get quick Eye of the Gods rolls and help pick what you want. It does have a 4-up ward save, which is nice. It can be marked with any of the other, with the 4 marks of Chaos. And it's a war platform. So unlike Chariots, the War Shrine does not have Swift Stride or Impact hits. If it does have Frenzy, the Shrine Master and the Bearers get the extra attack. And if it's required to take a dangerous terrain test, it is treated as infantry, so it doesn't take the d6 wounds, it only takes 1 wound. The cool thing about this is too, you can use it as a mount for your Chaos Lords and I believe Chaos Sorcerers.
Yes, Sorcerers.
So it is a good way to increase your General's bubble, because it's a bigger base.
18 inch.
And it's kind of a way to keep him safer if you're not throwing him in a unit or on a mount or something. He'll get it's a way of not having to pay for a 4-board save, because the chariot comes with it for free. It's not bad. It's sort of gimmicky, I think. If you're looking to do lots of other God rolls, go for it. But
you basically have to build your list around this.
Yeah, it's sort of your centerpiece.
Yeah.
The giant. It's a giant.
Yeah,
same as every other book. Same table. The difference with this guy though is you can take mercs. He has his own list. So Giant of Corn has +1 strength, which gives him strength 6. Not bad, except he doesn't attack in combat anyways. Giant of Zinch has a 6-up ward save, pretty cool. Giant of Nurgle, +1 toughness, which is pretty awesome. And Giant of Slanesh has +1 initiative. Not bad as far as giants go, just because you do get those upgrades.
Yeah.
I'd always give him Nurgle just because toughness 6.
Yeah, toughness 6.
And because I always play Nurgle.
Yeah, I've seen these guys a few times. I don't think I'd run one. Again, it's competing with a lot of other stuff and rare choices.
I think if I took it, I'd take 2.
Take 2. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, one is gonna eat a cannon and go away. 2 is gonna cause havoc.
It's a large target. It's stubborn and causes terror, so it's not bad. Anyone who's seen a giant before knows the chart, so we don't really have to go over that.
Yeah. It's no different from the other ones.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, this start getting weird.
The Mutalith Vortex Beast. So this was a new model that came out with this book. It's pretty garbage.
Yeah, I have not seen these guys work at all.
I've seen one once and it was a big failure. It was like a Hell Cannon level failure.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah, so if you want to go over it.
Yeah, so these guys, movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 3, d6 plus 2 attacks, leadership 8. It's a monster, so it gets all the monster stuff. Large target, 5 up reach end, 4 up save, causes terror. Nope. And we'll break there.
Yeah, that's it.
And we're back! So we left off with the Mutalith Vortex Beast. So this guy has an innate balance spell, level 5. It's direct damage. And you then roll a d6 and figure out what you did. Or sorry, how many toughness tests the target has to take. And what happens with that. So you can either take d6 toughness tests and gain fear special rule. The target takes d6 toughness tests and gains stupidity. d6 toughness tests, and after that, one of their characteristics randomly selected is increased by 1, and one is decreased by 1. d6 toughness tests, and then on a 3 or more, another unit within 6 inches has to take d6 toughness tests. Another one is a small round template, and if a hit is rolled doesn't move, every model underneath has to take a toughness test. And then the last one, every model in target unit has to take a toughness test. If it takes 1 or more unsaved wounds, you can immediately place a new spawn anywhere within 6 inches of that. New spawn has no wounds, and if you don't have a chaos spawn model, then you can't make a chaos spawn. Yeah, these guys are pretty bad.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not good in combat. Its magic thing is...
It's too random. And it's not very good even at that.
Yeah, like, there's not even good choices on the random chart. Like, if there's a couple, like, winners, maybe, but it's all just, like, toughness tests, and even, like, the gift of mutation, you subtract d6 from one...
Or subtract 1.
Subtract 1 from one skill and add 1 to another skill. That can end up screwing you more than it hurts them. Like,
Yeah.
you can give them more attacks, more weapon skill, more strength. Like, it's a horrible idea.
Yeah, it's a real shame too because the model is really cool looking.
The model looks like it came out of a Japanese hentai film.
Yeah, it really does. But yeah, no, they're crap. It's unfortunate, but they're crap.
And they're expensive points-wise and money-wise.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
So, let's move on to the next one.
The next stinker.
Yeah.
Movement 6, strength 7, toughness 5. 5 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 5. Has scaly skin 4+, causes terror, and is a large target. It's also a monster. Runes of Binding. So the cool thing about this guy, I guess, if you want to actually use him, is he is bound to a lord or hero of your choice in your army. Just make sure you indicate which character it's attached to. What this does is it gives the model's weapon skill and leadership to the Slaughter Brute. So if you drop that on your Demon Prince, which is cool, it's a weapon skill 9, leadership 9, monster. It's only initiative 3, so it's still slow, but at least it hits what it wants to. If that character dies, though, it goes back to its original profile.
Yeah, and gets random movement 2d6.
Random movement 2d6 and frenzy, so it has to charge with its big leadership 5. You can have it have extra claws. There are 2 additional attacks at strength 5. It's expensive points wise, and it's sort of hit or miss.
Yeah, it's definitely a one-trick pony kind of thing. Because if as soon as you lose that hero, it just goes back to being too random.
Yeah. Really, if you want a monster, go with the Shaggoth or even the Hell Cannon and just use it as a monster instead of a gun platform.
Yeah.
These 2 guys are the new model, and they're cool looking, but really the rules don't support any reason to take them.
Yeah, they're too expensive for too much randomness.
Alright, so that's basically all the regular stuff. We'll just pick out a couple special characters, maybe a couple magic items.
Yeah.
So the big one is Granddad Yarkaon. He's the ever chosen of the end times. He's Chaos Lord with a little bit of chaos sorcerer mixed in. So he's weapon skill 9, strength toughness 5. He has 4 wounds. He's initiative 7, 5 attacks, and he's leadership 10. He's infantry, but he is also able to be mounted on Dorgar, his monstrous beast. So he does become monstrous cav, but Dorgar is movement 8, strength toughness 5, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, and he's leadership 9. He has the Eye of the God special rule, so he has to challenge or accept when chosen. He's chosen at chaos, so he has all 4 marks that you can take. So he has Frenzy. He has a +1 to his ward save, so a 3-up ward save, because later on it'll say he has a 4-up ward save. His Mark of Nurgle, so -1 to hit in close combat, and Mark of Slaanesh, so he automatically passes break or fear, terror, and panic tests. He's Lord of the End Times, so his Inspiring Presence is an 18-inch bubble instead of 12, which is nice. And he has the Sword of Chaos, or Swords of Chaos, sorry. So he can upgrade 1 unit of Unmarked Knights, and they have the immune to Psychology special rule.
And hatred.
And hatred, which kind of sucks because Unmarked Knights aren't as good as Marked Knights.
Yeah.
So you probably never see that, but it doesn't matter. Because he does have all 4 marks, he's allowed to break the rule of marks, saying that only models with the same mark can join a unit. He can join any unit he wants because he has all 4. His magic items, the Slayer of Kings, it's his big sword, gives him double the number of attacks he has, so usually 10 attacks. No armor saves are allowed to be caused by the Slayer of Kings. It has a bound demon in it, which he can unleash, which then doubles his attacks. But any rolls of a 1 to hit after it's unleashed actually hit him instead, and because there's no armor saves, he is only going off his ward to protect him from that. He has the Armor of Morcar, so it's a 3-up armor save, +1 from being mounted, and I think he has a shield, so 2-up armor save. And nothing can wound him on better than a 3. So even if you're, higher strength attacks going on him, it only wounds him on a 3, not a 2. So that's nice against cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
That little bit of protection, not much, but whatever you can get. And then he has the Crown of Domination. Gives him the Terror special rule, and any unit within 12 inches of him may reroll failed break tests. So you can have 2 BSBs.
Basically, yeah.
And because Inspired Presence is 18, so that's actually a huge bubble, which is pretty nice. And the last one is the the Eye of Shiran, which is a talisman. Gives him a 4-up ward save, which is increased to 3 with the Eye of Zeech. I thought he was a wizard.
He's level 2 wizard.
Oh yeah, okay, so that's just regular. So he's a level 2 wizard. He can take any of the lores available in this book. So Death, Fire, Metal, Shadow, Zeech. Oh, I guess not.
That's it, yeah.
Alright, the other special character we want to go over is Festus the Leech Lord. He's the Nurgle special character. He's pretty wicked.
So this guy on his own doesn't seem that amazing. He's weapon skill 4, strength toughness 4, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 8. Level 2 wizard, only knows spells from Lord of Nurgle. Not too bad, there's some good stuff in there.
Yep.
But where he becomes really fun is while he's alive and in a unit, that unit gets 5-up regen and poisoned attacks.
Gross.
And where this can become really dirty is he has a special item called Pestilent Potions. And the way this works is at the very beginning of combat, he nominates 1 model in base contact with him, and they roll an opposed strength test. So d6 plus their strength. If Festus' roll is equal to or higher than his opponent, that opponent takes d3 wounds with no armor saves. And they count towards combat res.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. You can punk out characters that way.
Yeah, it can be pretty nasty. Yeah, he's great. Toss him to the Warriors, and he's a beast.
Yeah, it basically makes that unit of warriors bigger. I think we both take them almost all the time.
Yeah.
So, strength 5. With halberds, strength 5, poison attacks.
They're killing a lot of stuff.
And with regen, they're even more defendable. Yeah. The last special character we're going to go over is Throg. So he's a troll special character. Weapon skill 5, strength 6, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 5 attacks. He's only initiative 2, and he's leadership 8. He comes with a great weapon, so he's actually strength 8, which is gross. He has the Eye of the God, so he actually can become a demon prince. He causes fear, and he has the Troll Vomit, which is the same as before. Now, his vomit is different. It's called Copious Vomit, so just
So
shit
much.
amounts of vomit, like foolish amounts. It's a Strength 5 breath weapon with no armor saves allowed, so that's really hurtful against, knights.
Yeah.
Lord of the Monstrous Horde is his other special rule. So, if your army includes Throg, units of Chaos Trolls count as core choices instead of special. That's really good, because you can do like a whole monster-themed army. And pulling the trolls out of your special slot really frees up a lot of points for other things. If you don't want to run like Foot Wars and stuff. Mutant Regeneration. So, if Throg passes 2 or more regeneration saving throws in the same phase, he gets to roll on the Eye of the Gods, which is pretty good. It's hard to wound him, but passing those regen saves can make him even better. And the last thing he has is a magic item. So, providing Throg is not fleeing, all friendly war beasts, monstrous infantry, and monsters within 10 use his leadership instead of their own, unless would normally be higher. So, a lot of the monsters in this book have low leadership. The trolls are only leadership 4. He essentially is a general for monsters. So, that troll unit all of a sudden is leadership 8 instead of 4, helping negate that.
Where you'll see this guy is usually in the middle of a horde of trolls. Because that's all of your core taken care of, and they can kill pretty much anything in the game.
Yep. So I guess we can go over some of the magic.
Quickly go through.
Yeah. Lore Zinch. So each of the gods except for Khorne have their own lore. These are actually pretty good. So Lore Zinch, the lore attribute is when you cast a spell from Lore Zinch, roll a d6. On a roll of a 6, that caster immediately adds a single power dice to your army's pool. Only the wizard that added the power dice though can use them. It's not a bad lore. There's a lot of magic missiles and direct damage stuff.
Yeah. The catch with this is the warp flame rule, which almost everything has.
Yeah, so this is mostly like a combat lore, similar to fire. There's a lot of damage and stuff. But the problem is, all of them have a new rule called the Warp Flame Special Rule. So at the end of each phase, any unit that suffered 1 or more unsaved wounds from an attack with this special rule during the phase must take a toughness test. If the test is failed, it immediately suffers D3 wounds with no armor saves. That's sweet. But if the test is passed, all models in the unit gain a regen 6+ for the rest of the game. And any subsequent toughness test they have to take from Warp Flame that they pass, that regen gets better, and there's no cap, so you can have regen 2+.
Yeah.
If they keep getting nailed with these flaming attacks.
It's
kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's really hit or miss. Like the magic missiles themselves a lot of them are really high strength, or do stuff like getting rid of BSB rerolls, things like that. So they're really, really powerful, and if you're attacking low toughness units, it can be very strong. Like if I was playing against elves, I'd probably take Lord of Siege.
Yeah, I can see that.
Otherwise, if you're going against warriors or any ogres or something, just that difference between toughness 3 and 4.
You're essentially making your opponent better.
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
Lore Nurgle, that's a good one.
Yeah, Lore. So I'll do this one, I guess. Lore Nurgle, the lore attribute is whenever you successfully cast a spell, roll a d6. If you roll a 6, that wizard gets +1 wound and toughness for the rest of the game.
Awesome.
So really good.
Especially on Demon Princes.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. So the spells in this are pretty varied. You've got the signature spell, which is direct damage, basically sort of breath weapon. Take a toughness test. Miasma Pestilence. I won't go through all of them here, but basically it's buffs to your units, increasing toughness or giving them poisoned attacks, or reducing toughness for opponents.
Yeah, this is really like a utility lore.
Yeah.
If you already are confident in your units, this is a way to make them better. So you can give better toughness. You can give out poison attacks to units. You can make their poison better with the same spell. You can give out regen or make the regen better. There is a couple, damage spells. They're not too great, but they're not bad either. Like, you wouldn't say no if you got them.
Yeah, Rancid Visitations is the main one. It combos with the one that reduces toughness. Basically, it's a D6 Strength 5 magic missile, and then that you have to take a toughness test. No Warp Flame this time. And if they fail, they take another D6, and then it just keeps going and going and going.
That keeps going as long as you keep failing toughness tests. So you pair that with Curse of the Leper.
Yeah.
Curse of the Leper reduces toughness by D3. So if you can get that combo off, it's really devastating to low toughness, low armor units. The next one up is Slanesh. That's probably out of the three the better lore.
Yeah.
The lore attribute is if you cast a spell with it, roll a d6 for each successfully cast spell. On a 6, that wizard's weapon skill initiative are increased, and attacks are increased by 1. So that's cool if you want. It's alright. The thing about it though is there's 2 spells that really control your movement phase, and it really pisses everyone off. The first one is Acquiescence. So it's a hex with a range of 24. The target unit has the always strikes last and random movement d6 rules. So this really controls your enemy's movement, really prevents them from charging anything because they're only charging d6. And you can have it increased to range 48. The other one is Cacophonic Choir, and it's another one that's a hex with a range of 12. The target unit takes 2d6 hits that wound on a 4+ with no armor saves, which is great in and on itself. But then that unit also gains always strikes last and random movement d6 for the remainder of the caster's magic until the start of the next caster's magic phase. And you can have this target all enemy all enemy units within 12 inches. If you do so, the casting goes up. But basically, you could Cacophonic Choir bomb a whole army with a flying Demon Prince, and then you just basically control their whole movement phase and pick and choose your attacks.
Yeah. One of the other nice spells here is Hysterical Frenzy, and this is particularly brutal against anything with low leadership. Basically, it is an augment for your guys' hex for opponent. It gives them Frenzy, except that Frenzy gives +2 attacks. So it's great for on your own guys.
Yeah.
But the other place you can get kind of dirty is if you have, let's say, a chaff unit, like Dire Wolves or something you don't want to deal with.
Yep.
You give them Frenzy, they're going to fail their leadership 5 or whatever they have to charge you. And they're probably going to go last in combat. They're probably going to get killed. But when it's cast as a hex, that unit also takes d6 strength 3 hits at the end of each caster's magic phase.
And it's remains in play, so you're wasting dice to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's and it's only an 8 casting cost, so it can be used to really buff your own unit, or it can be used to really screw over a low leadership unit that's not going to do any damage if it does attack you.
Yep. So then we get into the magic items and chaos mutations. So mutations are like a separate list of magic upgrades that heroes and characters can take. They're alright. Like there's ones you're definitely always going to take, and then there's ones that you're probably never going to see.
Let's talk about the more popular ones.
So yeah, one of the big ones is Soul Feeder. So it's 10 points, and roll a d6 for every unsaved wound inflicted by the character in close combat. For each result of a 6, he immediately regains a single lost wound. So it's a way to refill your Demon Prince if he takes wounds.
Yeah. Third Eye Zinch is another big one. That's for that Sorcerer BSB build we talked about. It allows you to reroll word saves of 1. You can only take that on a model that's a Demon of Zinch or Mark of Zinch.
Right. Another one is Scaled Skin. So it gives the Scaly Skin 5+ special rule. So that's a good way for your Demon Prince to get that 1-up armor save. And if you're not running a Demon Prince, the same goes for your Mounted Disc Lord. Even if you want to take sort of like on a BSB.
Yep.
Because these points are not towards your magic allowance, it's a separate allowance. Having the Scaly Skin, you can take a Dawnstone and then still have some points over for ward save, so it makes you more defendable if you do go that route.
Then the other one we talked about earlier is the Chaos Familiar. So +1 to your channeling attempts and 1 extra spell.
Yep.
That's probably all of the main ones you'll see. There's a couple others, but
they're hit or miss.
Yeah.
Then the magic items.
So one of the more popular ones I've seen from this is the Helm of Many Eyes.
That's one I like.
Yeah, this is good to toss on a really killy character. Basically, that person has one extra to their armor save. They get ASF, but also have stupidity. It's 20. Well, I won't say the exact point cost, but it's nice, I guess.
It's cheap.
It's cheap. It's a good way to give your Chaos Lord ASF.
Yeah, and having that one blip of armor helps too.
Yeah.
It does count as magic armor, but unless you're taking like a charm shield or something else, throw it on. The other one, they're all kind of. The other one though that you do see a lot is the Chalice of Chaos. So it's a one use only.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was okay. Well, anyway, the bearer of the Chalice of Chaos may drink from it at the start of any phase. If he does so, roll a d6 and consult the table below. So on a 1, he immediately suffers a wound with no armor saves of any kind allowed. Crappy. On a 2, he gains always strikes first till the end of the turn. On a 3, he gets regen till the end of the turn. On a 4, a 5 a board save, again, till the end of the turn. On a 5, demonic strength, so he gets killing blow. And on a 6, he becomes a demon prince. No, wait. If the invader is already a demon prince, he instead treats the result as unworthy, so he gains a wound. Otherwise, he immediately takes a leadership test. If he passes, he becomes a demon prince. If he fails, he becomes a spawn.
Yeah.
So you take that with the demon prince factory.
Yeah, that could be pretty nasty.
And you get more demon princes. It's only 10 points. That's right, I said it.
Yep.
It's a gimmick, obviously, but at 10 points, if you got the points to spare, throw it on, see what happens. It might help, might not.
Yeah.
That's really it. Everyone else is sort of...
Yeah, there's not much. You see the blast standard sometimes. It gives you, against shooting attacks, roll a d6. On a 2+, the strength of the hit gets halved.
It's way worse than the old blasted standard, though.
Yeah.
So, and that's only for Zeech units. So really, the rulebook magic items are better. The real stars of this are the chaos upgrades.
Yeah.
And like we said before, they are not towards your magic points.
Yeah, that's separate point allowance.
So yeah, that's basically the book in a nutshell.
Yeah. I really enjoy the army. The only sort of downside, I guess, is that you do have very few units for the most part, unless you run that sort of chariot and redirector spam.
Yeah.
But that has its own weaknesses. But overall, it's a very, very forgiving army. It's also one of the least expensive things to pick up for new players.
Yeah, it's fairly cheap cost-wise. Points and everything's really expensive, and everything's, for the most part, everything's either really good at what it does, either being defensive or fighty or both. And like Logan said, it is very forgiving. So if you do make mistakes, as long as you have the tools on the table, you could probably pull back losses. Where it does suffer is the low model count. So once you start losing stuff, it really is sort of hurtful to the overall potential of your army. But as far as it goes, it's still one of the best. It's been out almost a year now. I think it'll be...
This book, 2012.
Really? It's been 2 years?
2 years.
No way, it's only been a year.
This one was 2012. Yeah, 2012.
Holy crap. So it's been 2 years. It's still one of the top contending armies. I'd say at least top 5.
Yeah, you won't see a tournament go by where these guys aren't in a bigger tournament, at least top 10.
Yeah.
A lot of small ones better than that.
And the cool thing about it too is you can pretty much make anything you want out of the army.
Yep.
You don't have, there's not really set net builds. There are net lists out there, but you can do well with basically any build you choose to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go for the sort of chariot spam, you can go for infantry, you can go for the double chimera disc lord build, you can play a demon prince. You can go all marauders. It's not great, but it's still decent.
Yeah.
There's a ton of options in this book, and just about everything to an extent. Take out Forsaken and the Slaughter Brute and Vortex Beast. A vast majority of the book is extremely viable to run.
Yep. So yeah, that's
that.
That's the Warriors in a nutshell. Obviously, we're not experts, so I'm sure some people will disagree with our assessments of the units, but for the most part, it's a decent book. Can't complain.
For sure.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and if you have any of your own views on this kind of stuff, feel free to leave it in the comments. Definitely something good to get a discussion going. And we will be back with more reviews as time goes on.
Yep.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.
Any of your own views on this kind of stuff, feel free to leave it in the comments. Definitely something good to get a discussion going. and we will be back with more reviews as time goes on.
Yep.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks.